addiction. What is addiction, right? I mean, I'm sure I could probably look up like a textbook definition or whatever. Um, but I feel like that might not encapsulate everything. It might explain like what it is, of course, but it's just like there's so much more to it, especially if you're somebody who is addicted to something or you recognize that you're addicted to something, right? In this modern world, there's so many things that we can be addicted to. I'm sure, most people on the planet right now, or, at least people living within Western countries or first world countries are, they have some type of addiction, right? It doesn't just have to be food. It doesn't just have to be alcohol or drugs. There's TV, there's video games. Um, what else? There's adult content. There's social media, stuff like that. There's so many stimulants out there that take advantage of what we, I guess, look for as humans when it comes to pleasure, and it kind of overrides that, and it makes us seek out stuff and to rely on stuff over time, right? You probably make, maybe if you go to the grocery store and you're looking for food or whatever, you probably make the impulsive decision to put something that you shouldn't be eating in the cart and bring it home. If you're watching TV, maybe you're just meant to watch one episode. Maybe you just wanted to wind down after work or something like that. And now you've like finished the entire season in one sitting or something like that. And you could have been going to bed early. You could have been, I don't know, maybe making some type of routine for yourself for the next day. Whatever the case may have been, where you could have spent your time more productively, you instead almost not insisted, but you instead decided, whether you realize it or not, to do something that isn't going to benefit you, right? And that's what addiction is, and there's more to it. It's like this, from, I guess, my own perspective, it's like this monster, or like some type of entity or thing living within your body, your brain more specifically. And if you feel like you're doing really well abstaining from it, no, actually, let me start from the beginning. I'm sorry that this might be all over the place. I just turned on the camera. And so, like, it's like, let's say just you get into something, whether you're young or whatever the case may be, you're like, oh, this is fun, this is nice, this is enjoyable. You don't yet realize the damage that it's slowly doing to your brain, right? What it's doing when you are, starting to create an addiction, it's something that's happening when you don't even realize it, right? At first, you might even think what you're doing is fun, it's enjoyable, it's maybe even, you might even think it's beneficial for you, right? But what's happening is now this monster, this weird being is being born and is being raised and nourished in your own mind and in your own body through you continuously relying on that vice, whatever that addiction might be, right? Just think about if you watch adult content, you might be a kid, right? You might have watched it, like some people might have watched it since they were really young, like before even they hit puberty. And so now they're putting their brain in this compromised state to form an addiction as they get older and have it be something that they're relying on, and they can't even see the world the same way, right? There's this monster, this being, this entity that's being formed within their brain. And as they keep watching adult content, it just gets bigger and stronger. It gets more nourished until the point to where it's hard to fight back against it, right? It's an inner battle, right? And then you have to kind of realize, like, when you look in the mirror, that monster isn't just some other thing or whatever. It's you, bro. It's you, bro. It's you. It's a version of yourself that was created from basically your environment or whatever it is that you decided to get into, right? Or maybe you didn't decide to, right? However things could have happened, there's peer pressure. Maybe you went to a friend's house or a relative's house and they showed you something, and now you have access to this thing, whatever the case it may be, right? And when you try and give up addiction, or when you try and kick it, it's like you can go for, I don't know, maybe let's say a couple of days or for some time, and this is in the beginning of when you realize you have a problem. Because first, you don't realize you have a problem. You don't realize you have a problem for years probably, until you really do some self-reflection or somebody comes out to you about it, right, and tells you that you have a problem, right? Even after someone might tell you you have a problem, you probably still don't see that you have a problem. But whenever you do realize that there's an issue there, then you're going to want to do whatever you can to change, to improve, right? You probably don't even know how to stop. You probably just think, oh, just, if I just stop drinking, if I just stop smoking, if I just stop playing video games, it's going to be okay, right? It's going to be all right. And then maybe some days pass, or hours or minutes, who knows, right? Who knows how soon you might relapse, right? You start to feel like you're missing out, or you feel like there's a part of you that can't be comforted, because you've relied on this type of stimulus for so long. And it's like as if, there's an old friend calling you, hitting you up, hey man, it's been a while, man, what's going on? We haven't hanged out. You can't make time for me anymore, wrapping its arm around your shoulder, trying to comfort you. It's okay, man. There's no problem with this. There's no issue at all. And then guess what? You get right back into it, You get right back into it. Right when you said that you were going to quit, when you were going to stop, or that you're going to try and make efforts to do better, you get right back into it, And sometimes that relapse can be so powerful that you go back to the state of thinking that, well, maybe I didn't have a problem in the first place. Maybe I'm fine. Until your life starts to deteriorate even more, until it affects your relationships, until it affects your health, until it affects, I don't know, your ability to work or to improve yourself in any other way. It's now seeping into every aspect of your life. And now you're really trying to fix this problem, but you just don't know how, right? You might watch a bunch of videos online, things like that, join groups or forums or whatever the case may be, but sometimes those things, they don't do it. But maybe you do find something, and something does work, and you're abstaining from whatever it is that you're addicted to for maybe months, maybe multiple days, maybe you've been able to stop watching adult content for like, I don't know, 7 days, right? That might not seem like a long time, but for somebody who's been watching it every day or something like that, that is a success, right? But then let's say day 8 comes around and you get this strong urge, right? You don't know how to cope, you don't know how to deal with it. The 7 days seem pretty easy. You might have had some urges here and there, but you were able to fight off against them. But now on the 8th day, it's just like, why is this so hard now? Why is this difficult for me now? Why do I feel like caving in? I don't know what to do, or maybe on day 8, something happens to you, something emotional, maybe you get in an argument with somebody, maybe you get written up at work, or something happens where emotions get involved and you don't know how to cope. And so you've been using the entire time, without realizing it or not, you've been using your addiction to cope for so long. And so the only way that out of this emotional turmoil that you're facing is to go right back into it. Let me boot up the game. Let me, watch a couple of episodes of my favorite anime. Let me start going up to these websites. Let me start, I don't know, rolling up a blunt, or let me go buy some alcohol, whatever the case may be. Let me go buy this junk candy, and then you fall right back into it, and you don't know how to get out. It's difficult. It's a hard journey. It is a hard journey to conquer yourself in that way, to where you won't be compromised by something that you've probably been into for years. And the step one is just realizing that there's an issue. That's the first step, right? I don't feel like I can really give a lot of advice, because there are things that I feel like I am addicted to, and I don't have a solution yet, because one thing, you can abstain for so long, but maybe it's just me, but you might always be thinking like, whoa, when will I relapse? When will I relapse? You never really feel like you have the confidence to say that I will never do this again, or that like, oh, I'm completely over it now, I don't want to do that again. It's only time will tell. You can't just be a week clean from anything and just be like, okay, well, I'm not addicted anymore. A week isn't long enough, not even a month. I don't even think 3 months might be a long enough time. If within that time, however long it may be, that you're abstaining, it'll be best to find ways to improve yourself and to add things to your life, right? Because when you're trying to quit any type of addiction, it feels like you're taking something away, right? And instead of it looking at it like that, think of, well, what can I do instead? With the extra time that I have now, instead of indulging in my vices, what can I add to my life? Could I go to the gym? Could I maybe start picking up reading books? Could I maybe start some type of hobby, like I don't know, some type of artistry, like learning an instrument or learning how to paint or draw? Could I join some type of, I don't know, gym? Like, could I, get a gym membership? Could I go to a martial arts gym? Could I go to a rock climbing gym? Maybe I can hang out with some friends and do something physically active, or just get out. Maybe, maybe you're in a relationship. Maybe you can take your girlfriend out on a date. Maybe you can work more hours at your job, right? Instead of focusing on the fact that it feels like you're taking something away, well, and replacing, and when that's gone now, or however long it might be gone from your life, what can you do instead? Because you're not taking anything away. You're not taking anything away. It's more like you're eliminating something. You're benefiting from having this thing no longer in your life, and the only way to keep it off is to have something that replaces it. Because we all use things to fill some type of void. Even if it's something that's good for us, right? You might work out because you always felt maybe belittled when you grew up, or you always wanted to have some type of strength for your own self, and then exercising is something that helped you out. And it just so happens that exercise is one of the most beneficial things for you to do. But maybe for people who wasn't exercise, maybe they didn't become athletic, maybe they didn't pick those things up, maybe it was video games instead, right? Because working out and video games can kind of be similar, can kind of be compared, because you're making progress in life that makes you feel accomplished and makes you feel like you've leveled up, right? When you gain new strength, that's like going up a level. First you were lifting 10 pounds, now you're lifting 25 pounds. First, I don't know, you were maybe overweight and now you've lost weight, or you were skinny and now you've gained muscle. Whatever the case may be, maybe you can run faster, you can run for longer times. But in video games, it can kind of have the same type of accomplishments. Now you were a level 1 knight, now you're a level 10 mage or something like that, and now you're, instead of defeating goblins, now you're defeating dragons. Instead of having 50 doubloons, now you have 500,000 doubloons. Whatever the case may be, you're making some type of progress. But when it comes to video games, it's digital progress, and unless you're like some type of streamer, that progress means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, even to those streamers, those games don't mean anything. It's the fact that there's someone who gets up and they basically work. They do what you do for fun, for a job, and they have this type of personality that attracts people. But you use it as a coping mechanism, as something to comfort you after a bad day at work, or after you just, I don't know, had a bad conversation or argument with your girlfriend, or whatever the case may be. And one thing too is to your friends, people that you hang around with, what are they doing? Are they doing anything to improve their life, or do they have the same exact habits as you, right? Whenever you log onto the game, are all your friends just like you? Do they sit around, do nothing, have no aspirations for anything? They're not actively doing anything to get better? They use the video game just the same way that you do. When you have friends, do you guys go out drinking all the time? Do you guys go out partying, smoking, things like that? Your friends, maybe growing up in high school, did you guys sit around the lunch table and just talked about how you masturbated to some type of video or whatever the day before or a couple days before? So really pick and choose who you're gonna have around you and what you're gonna have yourself around with, right? If you have things that constantly remind you of your bad habits around you, it's gonna be so easy. It's gonna be so easy to have those to get right back into those things, right? If you keep candy and junk in your house, guess what? You're gonna eat it, bro. You're going to eat it, bro. You're gonna eat it. But if you go to the store, instead of picking a bag of candies, you could get a bag of apples, a bag of grapes, dates. Dates are so sweet, bro. And they're a fruit. They're a whole food. They're good for you, man. Instead of picking out a Hershey's bar, you could get something like just a simple change is like 75% dark chocolate. To me, that tastes good. I like that. And so you can always make better choices over time to help reduce things. I wouldn't say I'm 100%, free from my addictions or whatever vices I might use, right? Which I feel like is just one. But I've greatly reduced my use of it over time. Especially after I found out that like I have an issue, I have a problem. And what's best to defeat this beast, this foe, this monster within yourself is to have people around you who support you and people that you can open up to and that will listen to you and won't judge you. People that are willing to be open and honest with you and to kind of tell you how it is and to support you and to hold you accountable. You need to hold yourself accountable, and you need to have people who care enough to hold you accountable as well. If you guys have anything that you're dealing with that you just feel like you're struggling with, leave a comment down, just let me know, and what are you doing about it in order to help yourself, So yeah, that's really it. Hope you guys have a good one. See you guys in the next video. I've been playing around with the grass under here. I'm like sitting on the ground, whatever. But yeah, sorry if it seems like I've been distracted with as I was recording this. But yeah, you guys have a good one. Peace out.